Welcome to the Gaby and Alex show.
I think she means welcome to the Alex and Gaby show.
No, welcome to the Gaby and Alex show.
All right, can we please compromise? Welcome to the Galaxy show.
With Gaby and Alex.
Okay.
We're on. What's today?
It's
Galaxy Show Day.
live broadcast Galaxy News.
The news today. Today, the Galaxy News brings to you timelines. What are timelines?
What are timelines?
And do we choose different ones or do we stay in the same ones we are in?
I mean, I personally love the timeline where we have these things.
So today we're going to slice open the universe and we're going to show everyone into the behind the scenes of reality.
Love it, Gaby.
Yeah.
Love it. I'm super excited for this one. And I'm going to let you sort of like...
Say some stuff?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. So,
Gaby's always excited when I give her space to say some stuff.
you know, the greatest illusion that's currently surrounding this realm of existence, the Earth realm, is that there's only one reality. For so long, you know, consciousness on this planet has believed that there's one reality, and we watch the news or look at social media and we receive communication from all over the world and we believe that this is one Earth, one reality. And it's pretty convincing, wouldn't you agree, Miss Tripod? Right?
Well, what comes up for me is like, there is one reality. It's my reality.
That's
your reality, and that's your reality, and everyone's reality is different. So if there's 7.8 billion people in the world, then there's 7.8 billion different realities right now.
And that's if there is really that many people on my world.
Right? Oh God, we just went deep into a wormhole already. 2 minutes in. I love it.
So ultimately, the greatest illusion is that there's one reality, when in truth, what's really going on is there are countless realities, countless timelines. So we want to talk about timelines of existence. Our frequency, the coding within us, and I'm not talking frequency just from an emotional state, like the frequency of happiness or the frequency of sadness. I'm talking full-blown coding, the amount of DNA that's active within the field, the soul coding that's active, embodied, and being utilized. The whole mechanism is the frequency signature, right? Yeah. And so depending on where our frequency is activated to, depending on how many strands of DNA are activated in use, how many soul codes are activated, what other codes, templates have been placed in our field, activated and functioning, will determine what timeline of existence we function on. Now, if we function in timelines that are very grounded in the 3D, that means that we're not actively accessing the quantum realm. We're not able to hear our soul, feel our soul, receive intuition. We're still very much fixed in timelines where we're wanting to do everything, control everything, as opposed to receive, co-create, download, allow synchronicities to tee it all up. Yeah? And we really wanted to share with you that currently, you know, we are choosing, and we're playing with timelines in the sense that we get to go, okay, like, what is it that we'd love to shift into? In my current realm of timelines, in the timeline that I'm in, this is what I experience. If I want to shift and experience a whole other realm of possibility, reality, then I want to shift into a different timeline. And Alex and I are currently, so exciting, we are taking a journey, shifting from old timelines, letting them go all together into new timelines around the body. The hello, how you doing?
We're bringing sexy back. Yeah, one thing I wanted to just jump in there, I don't know, you have not finished yet, but I wanted to just jump in and say it's really interesting because the way Gaby uses this beautiful language with and like I love the 12 strands of DNA that is available to us, and yet there's only 2 active and all this stuff. And for some of you are thinking, gosh, where did manifestation become so freaking complicated?
It's not, it's easier.
And it really is when I just want to give you this little tidbit, and that is that really when we're looking at activating more DNA that's dormant within us, thank you for distracting me while I'm trying to be serious and delivering this point, Gabby, is that when we feel in fear and we feel contracted, this literally contracts our DNA. And when we look at like the media and fear mongering and things that keep us in flight, fight or freeze mode, right? So this contracts our DNA. So a really 101 way to make more of your DNA within you that's dormant more active and activate more strands of your DNA and more of your multidimensionality, which I'm not going to get into today, is literally to start feeling good in the now. So the more you're actually feeling good and focusing on the feel good emotions, which means you are in alignment with source energy, the more of these DNA come online.
Yeah, and I like this too because it goes into when we look at different timelines, because we shift through them. So, you could be in your own energy, in the nowness moment. Like, maybe you've just spent all this time at a retreat, tuning into yourself, away from social media, away from any news, any connection points.
Away from old, environmental anchors.
Yeah, old environments, right? And you find yourself in peace, in stillness, in nowness. Now, in that time point, you're actually vibrating in a whole other timeline. Now, if you wish to anchor that timeline, we can do this, right? Yet what we can find ourselves doing is several different timelines can be open, and we can literally be jumping into like higher timelines, lower timelines, and we're a bit all over the place within our reality realm. And this is where we can have the best day ever and the shittest day ever. And it's like reality seems to, this is what it means, because the timeline, is it your highest or lowest? Is it in a higher realm or a lower realm? And Alex, this nowness, like this is where nowness activity, nowness practices, choosing nowness, allows us to oscillate within our highest timelines, because nowness will always calibrate us to our soul frequency. And our soul frequency is a match for our highest timelines. So, what do you want to say?
Oh, I just wanted to say I love that you share that, because one of the biggest things that I experienced when I started activating high timelines is that the contrast wasn't as, like you're right, depending on our emotional frequency will depend on which earth we vibrate in any given microsecond of the day. And so for me, the biggest thing that I started seeing doing this work and really like being such a custodian for my frequency is that, and I know some of you are only listening to this with sound, but the action I'm making with my hand is like, instead of like up, down,
the finger's going
down,
up and down,
right?
up, down,
and
finger.
There's these really wonky manifestations because your vibration is joy, trigger, oh, happy, down. And that's literally how I used to live my life. And think about just society, weekend, get fucked up, party, oh, Monday, back to work. Whereas what?
Are you speaking from experience?
Absolutely am speaking for experience. And now it's more like we're calibrating to a more calm vibration where, is this making sense? The peaks and the troughs aren't as brutal. And that's what it means to maintain more of a calm and steady vibration, which is going to have us with that consistency shift into higher timelines and anchor into that timeline, not experience it for a momentary time and oh shit, I'm back into the old reality. So that's how to actually anchor in that new reality too.
And to anchor, it also means we close down old timelines. So right now we felt to share with you, because we are activating and shifting into our highest timeline of body custodianship, which means, really having this vessel, this body, be in its prime functionality, so it can hold more light, so it can hold higher frequencies, so we can upgrade and receive higher frequency codes and integrate them. The hardest place to integrate upgrades is in the physical vessel, because it's the most dense. The emotional realm, the mental realm, the energetic realm will integrate this faster than the physical realm. And so we're like upgrading our physical vessels twofold. For me, it's because I would love to have my physical vessel look like the vision I have for it. And same with Alex.
Yeah, for me, it's more that when I look in the mirror, I feel resistance currently, like because, or my whole life I felt resistance, and it's not because I'm comparing myself, and I'm getting super vulnerable here. It's
Thanks.
not because I'm comparing myself to a Victoria's Secrets model and how I should be looking. The resistance comes from that my physical body doesn't actually reflect how aligned I feel inside. And so it's not, I feel like it's not a true representation. And so I want to bring the custodianship of the same custodianship that I have towards my fucking mission, the same custodianship I have towards subatomic shift, towards my self-expression, towards my vision, towards activating a high timeline, towards
Love.
5D,
Yeah.
towards Kelly, towards my devotion towards Kelly. I want to have that same devotion
Towards
my
our
body,
friendship.
towards my body, because I know that this is actually the last. Well, for me, I know that this is going to unlock that next layer of abundance. It's like, phew, and I know, like,
because the vehicle we're experiencing, through as well. And so, so we got excited, and
we did.
We got super excited about 6 weeks ago. And we're like, you know what? Highest timeline. This is what it looks like. Like, let's tune into the highest timeline. In the highest timeline,
Sorry, I'm thinking about that experience at the beach that we did.
Yeah.
Which went
Wait, not yet, because it's awesome. But this is freaking so, like, wait for it, because this will be worth. So, anywho, right? So we're like, okay, cool. We want to activate this higher timeline around body that's, yes, the physical, structure of the body is more vibrant, youthful, sexier, all the things, and at the same time, it's a supreme body. It's
life force energy, alignment,
yeah, supreme being, super
creator,
healthy, like we're talking like repairing any damage that has been done within the body DNA over the history of humanity, that has been exposed to energetic slavery, all sorts of just the matrix,
and then
right?
not to mention just the simple things like slave food and all the crap that we've both been fueling ourselves with.
Right. Well, we don't want to eat slave food anymore. And if you want to know what that is, it's junk food. It's food that's got a lower vibrational frequency
that
to it.
That instantaneously almost makes you feel like shit after you've had the instant
And we know, like when we eat it, we're like, and we're like, I actually don't want to desire slave food. I want to be completely I want to look at slave food and not be like, ooh, I want to eat some slave food now. Chocolate cake, ice cream. And I'm not saying that we don't get to have, if we want to have some pleasure food or slave food.
We're not a slave to it.
We're not a slave to it, Anywho, so we're like, yes. And we got we did the work to tap into the timeline, to really connect to it, and to go, okay, if we shift, if we do the work to let go of old timelines, which means we're now going to desire exercising our bodies, and it's going to be exciting and
we're going
fun.
to be present with every bicep curl, with every squat. I'm going to have love and reverence for my body. Like, I literally set an intention before every PT session. And it's so simple. It's to be in my body, to feel love for my body. And exercise for me used to be, I'll get this pain over and done with. And now I can actually feel my presence in it, and there's no more chitter chatter of, oh, when's this going to be done? I actually enjoy it. Does help that I have a lot of fun with Gabby during it. We have a lot of fun. Anyway, continue.
But this is the thing, right? When we looked into the highest timeline representation of our ideal bodies, when we actually tuned in and received, we saw ourselves as we exercise not because we had to or because we wanted to look a certain way. It wasn't a means to an end. It was simply it was like no different to making this recording for you. Like, it's exciting. It's not like I have to record a Galaxy show. It's like, ooh, let's record a Galaxy show. We saw it as we just exercise, like we breathe, like we shower, like we brush our teeth.
It's just part of our identity.
It's part of our frequency signature. And eating the highest frequencies of food in the alignment with our vessels. Also, to really shift into a place where this is just who we are. There is it just comes natural, right? And then, so we got ourselves a personal trainer, a dietitian, we got meal plans made, a personal trainer.
We did all the 3D things.
All that, because the download we got was, okay, now it's time to change. It's time to do some stuff, I laugh because sometimes you can like just do frequency work and shift into a higher timeline. Other times there's actually a journey to be had. And that's why we felt to share this one, because yes, there are, like, we shift timelines all the time. We receive, and we'll talk on a different episode around evolution timeline shifts and how you can shift so many timelines
it's not necessarily about doing
No,
all over yourself. In fact, a lot of it is
frequency
being,
upgrades.
and then you're shifting. But this is a little bit different.
This is like, okay, cool. I want to experience something different in the physical realm and take a full timeline shift, collapse old timelines for good. And so when we tuned in, we received, okay, like, you know, get a naturopath, you know, get yourself tested, get like all this stuff done to check your blood works, your this, your hormones, see what's going on. And to me, it's so I know like what I can upgrade in the body, you know, get the meal plan created, get a personal trainer, get the training wheels, action this stuff, place it into place, and devote. You know, for us, it was create an amplified devotion to this. And so for us, it was, okay, we're going to have to create change. We're going to have to do things we don't normally do. We're going to have to add shit into our day to day and take shit away, right? And of course, change isn't always yay, you know. And so we went, okay, let's activate.
Who can resonate with that, right?
Yeah, right? It's like, ooh, I get to do all this extra stuff.
Awesome.
Yay. Like even in business, I see this so often, you know, it's like I want to build a business, but there's shit to do. You got to build the business.
You mean I go just to get into that reality with all the clients and the money and living my fucking most abundant life? You mean I have to build the funnel and do the stuff and do the quantum work and call on the clients and do my avatar work and
I've got to do all the
take the action, step out of my comfort zone and run my workshop?
I wake up and have it all.
No, I don't want to do that.
And so that's why we felt to share this. And so what we committed to, and we like, to me, step one of timeline, like really massively, totally shifting into a completely different timeline. Please get Alex and I, we're not, like, we are super evolution driven. We're driven to share a message. We're driven to make a difference. We're mission souls. We can invest hours and hours and hours into our beautiful empires, into serving, into
video creation,
content creation. But when we look at working out or, you know, being very specific with the food we ate, like the body realm wasn't a realm that we really
have mastered yet.
We weren't coded with it. You know, we weren't. It was one area of our life that we were not we were not living in our highest timeline. And that's why we felt to share it, because, you know, when we're looking at timeline refinement, when you're already a master of something, shifting to time, like high timelines, can actually happen really fast. Whereas when you're not, when we're like, our reality is very different to the timeline that we wish to fully anchor and embody, then there's a journey, and devotion to me is number one.
It means extra focus, being extra diligent on where you're actually putting your energy to.
Which means
if we're sloppy with our energy and we're sloppy with our focus and we're sloppy with our action, guess what?
Oh, we just
that
jump
shift's
around.
Going to be a lot slower, or we're going to get disheartened because it's back in the old timeline. Is this ever going to change? And then we get stuck in, you know, trapped in that vicious cycle.
And so to me, number one is devotion, which means not commitment. Not like, yes, I'm going to friggin' do it, devotion. Really having a big ass why, a big purpose, like anchoring the journey from one timeline to the other and all the timelines in between to be in a place where we're going to finish the journey. And to me, devotion will always finish the journey, whereas if we don't have it fully activated, we don't. We'll be halfway up the mountain and we're like, oh, fuck the view.
And that's no different to when we look at, you know,
any area.
Feel into the vibrational frequency of, and actually feel into it, feel into the difference between commitment. I'm committed to creating a business. I'm committed to creating the body of my dreams versus I'm devoted. And for me, the biggest difference is
devoted to you. Can you sing it?
I'm going to sing over you next time, love.
What's the difference?
So the difference for me is commitment is coming from the mind, you know, and so this and devotion is heart. You know, I'm devoted to creating this vessel, whether it takes 2 months or 2 fucking years. I'm that devoted, just like I'm devoted to my love, my fiance, Kelly Bowen, you know, and and my best friend Gaby Kowalski. And so commitment, you know, for so many of us, well, commitment only has a certain capacity before we're trying to mindset ourselves, you know, and it's like this push. It's like, think of it, it's almost like you're trying to push a boulder up the hill and I'm committed, whereas heart, it's like you're pulled, you're inspired. It's less of this kind of hustle feeling, especially if you've got a whole bunch of self-sabotaging programs and beliefs in the subconscious mind that actually are working against you. We've got to look at those things too. And this could be in any area, business, body, relationship. What were you programmed with in your childhood?
Yep.
Because that's going to play a big part in shifting timelines too.
Taking a journey from a contrasting timeline into a polar contrasting timeline, you know, honestly, a lot of stuff can come up. There'll be maybe things to heal, maybe triggers to transmute, maybe whole skill sets to learn. You know, it's a journey. It's a journey of becoming, you know, that version of ourselves in that timeline. If we just want to be able to jump and be in that timeline automatically, that is available, but not if the soul has chosen to have an experience, to expand, you know. And for the most part, our souls didn't come in to physical form
to have instant manifestation.
It
would get very boring.
It's not like, oh, I've got this. Oh,
it wants the journey. It wants the transformation.
And some timelines literally are instant shifts. Other timelines are journeys. And to surrender to whichever one, yet the devotion piece means that we get there, because I'm devoted to bringing in new earth. You're devoted to bringing in new earth. Would you ever, even if it takes another 10 years, right? Even if it takes my whole
mission,
right?
Yep.
Like, we are devoted to our missions on this planet. Period. And
the only thing that comes apart for me is Cal. I'm devoted
to your love,
to my love, and to my mission.
Yep.
It's like the two things I die for.
Yep.
Yep.
There is no bump too big, roadblock too big. Yeah. And so for us, we got really.
Why don't you tell them the story of the beach?
Yeah, I will. And so for us, we got devoted to. So we looked at every area of our life and we went, okay, if we were to be in this highest timeline of body, how is that going to play out in this area? And we wrote, we really connected to. And then we found what was our hot buttons, what areas of life were most amplified by us being in this highest timeline of body. And that's what we allowed to fuel us. It's like that vision is the greatest towards activator.
And coding ourselves. And so getting really clear on specifically why and what difference would that make in your everyday life. It's like I was imagining how free I'd feel in my sexual expression with Kelly naked in the bedroom. And I know that's quite personal, but who cares? I'm sharing it. Now when I feel of the vision, it's like I can actually see really specific moments that it's like it just fuels that desire and that inspiration instead of oh yeah, I'd like it. It'd be nice to have that body. No, I can actually feel the feelings within my body of how that would feel, if that makes sense.
Yeah, 100%. And same with me. My greatest hot button was actually sex. Both of us went to, this is going to amplify our sexual experience as humans. And that's one of the coolest pieces of being human, to us anyway. And so we're like, oh, yes, and it's going to be different for everyone. Whatever the hot button is, anytime you tune into that reality and that, that timeline, it codes you, it amplifies. And what I find it does when you when you really go, oof, this towards why devotion, when you're coded with it, you can't be uncoded with it. There is no turning back, because then to not have that is totally letting yourself, it's settling at the worst degree. It's it's like eating a stale sandwich, when you're really hungry.
You can never go back. It's almost like you awaken, you can't go back. And
you take the red pill or the blue pill. You can't take the other pill, whatever pill it was.
And it's on I can actually relate to that, because when I first resigned from my 9-to-5 job and I was coding myself of my vision and getting really specific, I would use really emotive music and feel into the music, and I'd be running while I'm listening to this music, allowing it to code me. And the visions I was getting was literally like me speaking on stages, and I had no speaking experience. I was petrified of public speaking at this stage.
She used to want
But
to
yet
vomit before getting on stage.
coding myself. I could see myself having this grounded preacher, like boom, and standing ovations and being, I didn't know how it was going to happen. And then literally 8 months later, I'm running my first event. Now I'm a speaker. Like, it's just, you know, and this is where we get to bridge the gap of you hold the vision and the how will work itself out.
When we do the coded timeline work, though,
yes.
you know, it's like, and connecting to this. And so, you know, from this place, then all this stuff like comes in when we're connected. All the synchronicities, this is where like everything floods in, and all we need to do then is pay attention. And for me, what had happened was one morning I woke up and I was just connecting to my galactic team and asking around this body project, and then this quantum technology comes in and I start to receive, and I'm downloading this whole activation to do, and this beautiful, like, just awesome, like activated sacred geometry key code to use within to install into the physical vessel. And what it does is it repairs the body, and it actually goes in and it undoes the trauma the physical vessel's been through for so long on this planet, like thousands and thousands and thousands of years, to return the body back to its supreme being state. And in it, I was shown how to code the actual body type, the weight, the structure, and then place it into the field and activate it. And I was like, oh, Alex, this just came through. Fucking awesome. And so I placed it into my field. Then Alex came over, I placed it into her field, and then received to anchor it and activate it even more. We had to go to the beach. We had to dig holes and lie as naked as possible.
Think of it like a mummy tomb, but like one for your body.
Yeah.
So
we'll
pull up one for
in
your
the
body,
sand.
put yourself in the tomb, and then we covered ourselves.
And then there was these other galactivations that were like just channeling through.
People were walking past, and Gaby was like, "We're not weird. We're just spiritual."
I was yelling at all these people. It was funny because when we got to the beach was like, there was lots of people.
I was like, Gaby, no, this spot isn't private enough. Let's go here. They're going to think we're weird.
And we're like, you know what? Screw it. So we dig these big holes, lie in them, cover ourselves up. And meanwhile, like, we're just, people are walking past, looking, and we're like, we're not weird, we're spiritual. And we're yelling it out, we're laughing. We're not weird.
We're not weird.
We're spiritual.
We're activating our 5D body
activating our highest body timeline. And then we go full right. The shit you do for your timeline. See, that's devotion.
Right.
Devotion.
Absolutely.
And but what was really freaking cool, remember, like our eyes are closed, stuff's like freaking, like I'm just channeling stuff. Alex and I are like shaking, receiving all these codes. You know, now. and then we open up. We open our eyes. The beach is empty.
Now, either you're thinking, because you're fucking scared them off, but we'd like to think we shifted into a whole new reality.
Into a whole other reality. Yeah. We just woof, and then the beach was empty, and we're like, oh, new world. And we're like, hello, new reality. Hello, new timeline.
Hi, new body.
Yep, that's right.
Yep.
And so, you know, I'm sharing because this is part of the journey now. We're not weird.
Now, we also paired this up with the 3D stuff.
Yeah, so it's like, exactly, it's like all the frequency work with the physical actions, you know, and so we're working out.
And that's so different to us, like if we, you know,
in business as well.
if we got a client and we knew that they needed a mixture of the energetics and the systems.
Right.
For us to say to our client, oh yeah, all good, you've got no clients, or you know, you want to go to the next level, just meditate all day, they'll come to you, right? I'm not saying that can't happen.
Once you've got the portals built, once physical structures are, but no, then it doesn't work.
This is where like we've got to look at that real energy if we're really wanting to create a quantum shift. So we'd advise them to mix both the 3D action stuff with all the quantum processes and the
and the devotion to keep going. You know, to me, some timelines really are like walking up a big mountain, and there's going to be beautiful parts, and there's also going to be parts where you got to climb walls, and it's just sweaty, and like you've just got to, are you devoted or not? Period. And then there's going to be times where you might get triggered. Stuff needs to be healed and purged. Yesterday or the day before, we're having a personal training session. The yep,
I can't believe you're going to share this.
I'm going to share it.
Okay, great.
And so to me, I always share this with my beautiful soul tribe clients, and I believe this and I walk this talk. If ever I'm triggered, and what I mean by triggered is something happens and it activates within me lower vibrational story, like, so if I'm angry, shitty, chucking a tantrum, I don't feel like
good.
I'm not feeling like I'm in the now. I'm blended with my soul. I've got like expanded awareness. I'm in flow state.
All of a sudden, the chitter chat has been activated.
Right? If this happens, I pay attention because I'm like, oh, some program has been activated within my field that was lying dormant, that's not in my highest. And so it's time to deactivate that program, remove it, so I can stay in flow state, stay in my column of ascension, stay connected and blended with my soul. So the other day, we're working out, and our personal trainer yesterday. I swear when you're doing timeline shifting, it's like one day feels like years.
That's true.
But I share this because, right, so we're in Victoria in Australia right now, and we're currently being told to go into our homes again because there's been like an additional lockdown. And so we were going to a gym working with a personal trainer, but that got taken away. Callie, Alex's fiance, used to be a personal trainer. And so we did this one. We look with your eyes. If you're watching the video, we're like, blinking, will you please train us, please? For those of you on the podcast, I suggest you go to YouTube to check out the video version of that.
Yeah.
So we,
It's worth it.
with our eyes bright and shiny and our bushy tails wagging, we asked her to train us, and she said yes. And so she's hardcore though. Anywho, so yesterday we were training, and she was like getting us to do stuff, and to be honest, she was working me past my level of funness in working out. All of a sudden, I'm like, I don't want to do this for 5 minutes. I don't think I want to. I started like getting a bit like a brat. Like I was tanties.
She tucked a tanty.
I had a tanty.
Yeah.
I had a full-blown tanty. Then Alex and I are doing this boxing thing, and I was doing it wrong, but I didn't know what I was still in my tanty.
She got a bit confused.
I got confused.
And she chucked another tanty.
I chucked another tanty. Alex is like, I want more resistance. I'm like, yeah, I'll give you resistance. Like, boom, boom.
I was like, okay, child.
Anywho, Alex was still in her divine, like, flow state. So she was able to call me back, and she dealt with it like a champion leader.
Thank you.
When we're stretching and I wasn't in this tanty anymore, I'm like, wow, I got triggered. I was like,
We didn't say anything. Gabby had to come to that conclusion herself.
I was like, whoa, I got triggered. Well, I don't get triggered very often,
you
but
don't.
when I do, like, to me, I pay attention, And then I'm like, oh, what was that? And I'm like, oh, like there was a massive trigger for me to work through around, structures, being told what to do. Like, oh, I was like, you're not going to tell me what to do, like this rebel thing. And so during stretching, I'm like doing inner alchemy on myself, clearing the trigger. Like I'm doing all my quantum shamanic-y stuff, to clear it. And now it's like, okay, like now I'm calling back my own conscious power to not have that, like that program's now gone. So now I get to go, okay, cool. This new version of myself does allow myself to stretch my physical body beyond the fun zone when I'm training it, beyond the comfort zone. I'm so comfortable to go out of my comfort zone emotionally, mentally, with like the way I express myself in the world. And I saw I had this limitation where my physical body didn't want to go too far outside its comfort zone. And so that got to be transmuted, and a whole new reality gets to be birthed now, right? And we share.
Can't wait to work out with you today and see what changed.
That's right. And we'll let you know if there was another tanty or not. Yeah, from this place, right, we wanted to share with you, there are other timelines. Some of the timelines are brand new ones. So when we're actually in our highest timeline, this is really important. There are so many timelines already out there. You may be oscillating in your highest timeline or not. When the timeline's already created by your desire, which means your soul's already there in a different version of you, you can close the gap and merge with that version of you, right? And there's also another way to look at this. If you're on your highest timeline of journey, there is no other version of you to shift into. You're actually creating realities with each step. Then from this
That's
place,
sexy.
right? From this place, that journey.
Rewind that and listen to it again. So what?
There are timelines where you're not in your highest version of self, so you can quantum jump into another version of you in the quantum. Then, if you're functioning at the cutting edge, if you're blended with your soul and you're in your highest timeline of journey, there is no jumping into another version of yourself. There is you creating with each breath, each step. You're creating. You are the highest timeline. Other versions of you in the quantum are being called to blend with you as you collapse timelines, as you collapse realms, as all this resolves, and it's like boom, 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 boom. And so either you're calling back fragments of yourself into your highest timeline that you're in, or you're the fragment going into the highest timeline.
And that's a really, really sexy way of explaining what it means to be truly present in your multidimensionality.
To me, true presence is that, it's the access to highest timeline frequency, because when we're in the now, we are in our soul frequency.
Well, think about it. What is so sexy about feeling in the now?
Oh,
I'm sure everyone has
amplifies,
felt,
right?
yeah, that energy. There's something that shifts. There's a vortex of energy, and it's because all of your selves have met, and it's like a parallel of all of your selves. We are all here.
It is. It's like, and
it's like, I'm here, I'm here, I'm here, I'm here.
Like your soul's literally there.
And again, the visuals are really good on our video. So if you want to see the video,
check out the video version of this show.
So let's go into how. I want to talk a little bit about how and give you guys some actual, hey, I've loved the timelines. You've motivated us. We've gotten really clear. Let's talk about, we're going to give you a few little pointers of how
Step
we.
one.
Sure.
No.
Yeah. So like, for me, it's not so much of a step by step. It's more just like there's a plethora of tools, and choose and feels what feels good for you. I also think it's really important to share that, we're talking about all this kind of stuff, and I was just discussing with Gabby this morning, like we want to talk about, multidimensionality in the next episode, and timelines of this one, and it's quite like, I'm going to say, advanced manifestation. And sometimes when we're in the work, we forget how the basic 101 stuff, how potent, how powerful it is. Because still for me, what I was doing 1 week into my journey 4.5 years ago is when I forget to do them, or it's been a while, it's like, oh wow, like just the power of them. And what I mean by this is like,
this is like
step
fully
one,
embodied creation. So if we're being a conscious creator, we simply are in our highest timeline of creation, which means we just do the stuff that is creation, not being created. We're either the wind, the within our life. We're like, if you think of a leaf, right? You're either a leaf that's choosing its own path and exploring the world because you guide the wind to blow you wherever you want to go, or you're the leaf that's being blown around by the wind because you have no idea how to co-create with the wind. And I know it's a bit poetic, isn't it?
Beautiful, Gaby.
Be the.
So back to the how.
This is the how.
So I'm going to share a couple of my faves, and then you can share a couple of your faves.
Oh, it's the wind.
Yeah. So be a leaf from Gabby.
Co-create with the wind.
Be a leaf.
The wind is
so
the
for
universe.
Me,
I thought that
was really beautiful. So for me, it really like, oh my God, really, Alex, you're going to tell us to set intentions?
Really?
Yes, be intentional about your day,
So
and more specifically, for me, I'm getting really clear on how I intend, how I want to feel every day. So I'll literally like wake up and I'll be like, I intend And so it's like, what do I intend to experience today? What do I intend to feel today? And so it could be like I specifically choose body, relationship, and mission. So it might be like I intend today that I experience harmony and peace in my field and in the household. I intend that I experience joy and deep emotional connection with my love, Kelly, tonight on our sensual date night that we have. You know, it is my intention. You could do broad ones. It is my intention that all I require to live an extraordinary life is provided to me and given to me in abundance, and I share this abundance with others. So I'd advise to do specific ones, and then you can go broad ones. And so for me, it's even just as simple as if you want to take it to the next level. And Abraham Hicks talks about this, about segment intending. So you set intentions, little ones throughout the day. Guys, please get, this is a lifestyle change. And when I started doing this consistently, everything started changing. When we set intentions, we literally shifting the quantum, right? Like I now set an intention to get to my destination safely. I set an intention every time I get in the car. I now set an intention when I listen to this podcast that there's 2 or 3 little golden nuggets that could profoundly shift my life. I now set an intention that while I'm in this training with Gaby and Kelly, that I'm so feeling in my body, I already feel the love that I'd feel for my body, like in the now, right? And that for me really closes the gap of that timeline where I want to be and that resistance, because I get to feel what I actually want to feel already in the now, which that's what creates a quantum gap to close really quickly.
Yeah, I love that.
Do you want to share one?
I will actually want to like expand on intention. To me, intention is one of the most powerful creator, you know, like systems to co-create with. If we're not maintaining this and we're like looking for more advanced technology, quantum codes, upgrades, like with respect, it's like, you know, that's where, you know, if we can't master and embody and maintain the fundamentals, well, we're not ready for the advanced technology. And for me, intention's huge. I know that intention creates a grid that enables me to then channel that co-creation. Without the intention, I can download all sorts of stuff, and I don't even know if it may be for me, it may not be for me. I've seen people that, you know, that like amazing channels, download great ideas, visionaries. However, because they're not tuning into intention daily, they're actually downloading stuff from the generic quantum, not the stuff that's in their own soul signature highest timeline of ascension, of evolution. And then they get lost. And, you know, beyond this though, intention creates. If we like with intention, we are co-creating. It's the leaf and the wind working together, taking, like the wind's the magic carpet for the leaf, you know. Without intention.
From my other episode, it could be your team creating with you. So it shifts you out of manufactured. So for me, let's say I set intention before a video I'm creating, then I'm actually trusting in the magic to flow. When I don't set an intention, and not that I have ever, but let's say I don't, I probably have before. I've forgotten or I've run out of time to set an intention before a coaching call with a private client or before a webinar, maybe years ago. I've felt so clunky because it's like this, it's me, it's what's going on. But when I'm setting intention, it's like it not only happens to the T, but it happens even more delicious than I was expecting.
Every time.
You open up the magic with intention.
Yep. Every workshop I do, every webinar, everything I do with my client, my whole programs, like the New Earth Mission Collective program, the main intention, there's many different ones. One of them is, my intention for that program is that at the end of that program, if I was to offer my beautiful client $100,000 cash, which is of course a lot more than they pay for the program, and say, I will give you $100,000 cash right now, but you need to erase everything you've received inside this program and you'll get the money.
Their intention is for them to say, fuck no.
Exactly. Like, fuck no. Oh my God. Like, that's the intention.
That's beautiful.
You know, that they're like, the value they receive. Yeah. And because that intention is there, everything flows through that, you know. And to me, this is why it's so important, because every intention is a grid. It's literally a quantum structure. Everything within the universe are just grid works and structures. They're boxes. All realities are a different set of frequencies. So, like to me, intention is this. Like if you see what intention does in the quantum, you'll see all of this grid work. You'll see like all these shapes. And you're now in this part of the universe, that part. It's fucking extraordinary.
So think of intention like you're literally every time. And for those of you that like, those of you might be listening right now thinking, thank you for the great reminder, because this is what happened to me 3 weeks ago when I got reminded of the power of this. So think of when you're setting intention in the quantum, almost see yourself in this like energetic bubble. Like you've just created this awesome intention bubble where all this magic and stuff is going to happen. If that makes sense.
Yep.
Let's go into, yes, awesome. So a quick one that I wanted to share is what I've been using lately, and the amount of synchronicities and answers that have been flowing through just by doing this simple tool has created quantum leaps in the amount of control I've been able to release in the last month. Has been, I don't even know who the fuck I am in comparison to last month. It's been extraordinary. And so I guess if I had to call it something, it'd be like quality questions to your soul or to your higher self. And so the way I want to almost explain it is, if you look at like different timelines of all different versions of you, I want you to almost think of the version of you in an earth that already has the thing you want in that timeline. And then feel into like, how does that version of you feel, right? So again, it's everything that you want in life, whether it's body transformation or business growth. It's because you believe that in the having of it, you will feel better. So how does that version of you feel? So getting really clear on how that feels. So for me, for example, I've been asking quality questions with presuppositions. So for the body one, it's like, well, I want to feel empowered and energized and sexy and aligned. So it's like, how can I feel even more empowered, aligned, energized, present in my body right now? And the amount of synchronicities and things and quotes and things that I'll receive during the day just by repeating this question. Because what happens is you're literally like, I think you explained it to me in this way, which is really sexy, is you're asking the question to your subconscious mind, but your subconscious mind is actually connected to all the subconscious minds of all the other versions of you. So you've got access to all these other versions of you, and you've specifically got, it eventually will connect to the version of you that's already created that thing you want. And you're getting the wisdom from that version of you that's created it. Yeah. I'm just going to leave it at that.
Yeah, it's awesome. Cool. And it is like quality questions to our soul, our higher self, however you want to call it. With the taking action is one of the most important pieces. Often I see people being stuck in a story. It's like, as opposed to, like a story. Oh, why is this happening? Oh, it's happening again. It's happening again. Now
I've never done that.
That simply keeps us within a timeline spectrum. So it could be one same timeline that we're stuck on, or it could even be a couple, and we're literally like, In order for us to evolve, evolution always comes with something gets released, something gets added, and sometimes both. Something gets released and something new gets added. Yeah. Now, quality,
like a swapping.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's both for it to be filled
and
in.
sometimes it's just one or the other. Yeah, because we're playing like something in this timeline. Like it's like, this is the timeline. That's the timeline. What's different? It's like, well, what's in this timeline that's not in this timeline? Does that make sense? And quality questions to our soul, our oversoul, our higher self, our subconscious, whichever, however you want to call it. What it does is we then, instead of crapping on about the story, we say, how can I experience my ideal body with full friggin' vitality, energy, longevity, even more right now?
What would it take to create the business of my dreams? How can I release even more control and surrender and trust even more into the magic of life? So it's like, how can I even more? What would it take to? And don't be afraid to get specific on the areas of life that you're actually trying to transform.
And what I love about this is literally what people pay coaches for, whereas when we self-coach, we self-lead, we self-create. We're not reliant on having somebody else ask us these questions because we ask ourselves these questions every day.
Brilliant.
And then when we go and experience deeper work with a coach and a mentor, we go next level. Like if we can't do this is creation. This is, to be honest, I feel like this is pretty basic creation compared to what's available. But if we can't do this and we're like, ooh, I want more galactic codes,
yes,
yes,
it's no different to you wanting the magic pill.
I think so too. I feel like that's that. And so that's it. It's like whenever something's not functioning at the highest in our reality, let's ask a quality question to our soul. It's like, okay, well, how can I? What would it take? And I love the presupposition, which is coming back to the nowness. In the now, we either, when we're not having a great time on Earth, we will tend to focus in onto the shit that's not working. We will tend to also focus in on what we call the gap between where I am and the highest timeline I wish to anchor into. And to me, the power of nowness is being in the now and being able to actually observe, without distortion. Because if we're like, this is where I am, that's where, because distortion means I don't see all the good in the now. I just see the fucking gap. I just see, I don't have this, I don't have that, me. Whereas when we're in the now and we're asking quality questions that presuppose we already have elements of what we desire in the now, that actually anchors us into a higher timeline to begin with, and the answers come in. So just the question of how can I experience even more,
Because as well, 101 is the universe is always responding to your emotional dominant vibration. So if you're trying to create from an emotional dominant vibration of I don't have, how can I have? The universe is just going to respond to that resistance, right? But if it's like, how can I experience even more of the love and the joy and the da-da-da-da-da?
And it's distorted now.
Yes.
Like in the now, there is always cool shit going on.
We've just got to put our filters onto it.
It's like, and to me, it's this, like, so that's where the quality questions come in, and then it's, as opposed to being stuck in the drama, stuck in the story, which we all can do at times, it's, okay, hold on. What am I creating right now? Am I observing and recreating and then shifting into lower timelines because I'm being a bit of I'm chucking a tanty here? Or can I shift that, alchemize that, and now let's create something new? Let's ask better questions. And whatever we download, whatever the answer is, we take action.
Boom.
If we don't take action, what happens?
We have zero progress. I'm being serious.
And to me, it also goes into last episode.
That was a very 3A answer, wasn't it?
It was pretty boom. But it also goes into last episode. If we don't take action, we're not honoring the download. To me, my channel, like...
And then you'll actually block the flow because it'll be like, well, why should I keep speaking to you if you're not honoring what I'm actually giving to you, the wisdom? You're poo-pooing all the wisdom. So why do you want more $1 million magical ideas, $1 million mission aligned ideas?
You can't even friggin' execute the last one I gave you.
Right.
But you can't finish the last one I gave you.
Again, you're wanting the magic pill. I gave you the magic
yesterday. And taking action isn't always easy. That's where devotion to me is everything. Whatever timeline we wish to activate, we must be devoted to that timeline. Then we will take the action when we receive the download asking the quality question.
Do you feel like we've given them like enough? Because I feel like we've got more, but I feel like really good with that.
What do you feel really good.
I feel like, we had more to share with you, but I feel
next time.
Oh, Galaxy News.
Galaxy News with
Alex
and Gaby.
We love you. So good. And see you on the next one.
Bye.